606 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake Barty producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we are off and running on this Thursday morning. Whew! And what a morning. What a rough couple hours last night. I mean, early yesterday evening, right? That storm ripping through Baton Rouge. Honestly, we didn't get it nearly as bad as we could have. That thing ripped through Baton Rouge, but moved quickly getting through town. Always makes you a little more tense when the watches, alerts, and warnings start rolling in, combined with video footage of a tornado picking up an ATV and just flinging it across the sky. That's never a good thing. Hope everybody got through the storm okay. No reports of any major damage in Baton Rouge. In Baton Rouge, no reports of any major damage. That storm that ripped through yesterday, there were at least two reports of tornadoes touching down in Lake Charles. One of which, our news partners at WBRZ have got the video. A four-wheeler just picked up and flung across the sky. Also, East Feliciana Parish, I want to say about 1,300 folks without power. Tangipahoa Parish, just over 1,000 folks without power. So when it all comes down to it, the storm did not make it from one side of the state to the other without doing anything. There was some damage. Oh, also in Lake Charles, they're reporting more than 40 homes sustained damage in the storm as well. Hope you got through it okay. As this morning, we're waking up to the better part of the storm. Waking up to the cooler weather. And you heard Marissa's forecast right there. It's about perfect right now. We are at 60 degrees downtown right now. Hoping to tick one more off of there so we could say got down into the 50s. But it's not going to get much warmer today. We're at 60 right now. Today's high, expected to get up to 68. Overnight low, 52. Tomorrow's high, just 64. Overnight low, 49. Got to tell you, though, I'm already looking ahead to Sunday, Halloween. What's trick-or-treating going to be like? Well, Sunday's high is 76 degrees, so a little bit warmer, a little bit on the tolerable side, and overnight low of 52. So if you're trick-or-treating, I know some surrounding parishes moved trick-or-treating up to Saturday. Going to be a little bit cooler for trick-or-treating on Saturday than it is on Sunday. But in East Baton Rouge Parish, if you're trick-or-treating Sunday, expect temperatures in the upper 60s, 67, 68 degrees. Expect not to have a cloud in the sky, clear nights, smooth sailing for this Halloween as we approach the weekend. I know, still got another day to go, but this week has felt like 2 weeks, I swear. This week has been a long one. We got a busy show for you today. Speaking of this week being a long one, Dr. Beau held the press conference yesterday. We eclipsed the homicide record in Baton Rouge for the year. And there's still 2 months to go. You couple that with domestic violence, opioid deaths, suicides. Dr. Beau Clark's office has been super busy. He's going to join us at 7:15 to talk about it. Oh, Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show, going to hop on board in less than half an hour. Louisiana ranks 34th in the country for entrepreneurism. We'll talk about that a little bit and a few other topics with Patty G. Back to the 7 o'clock hour, 7:35, Sergeant Don Capola will be by for Crimestoppers. Then in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to talk with the folks from CATS. Not so much about the news that broke yesterday, although I'm sure I'll ask a question about it. But they had a pretty major announcement yesterday as well about touchless pay and whatnot. So CATS has got some stuff going on. We'll talk with them at 8:15. And then round things out with FEMA extending their deadline. No shocker here. FEMA's extended the deadline. We see this after every single storm. And we'll have Nathan Custer from FEMA to talk about that. This weather, man. Got through it last night, waking up to just gloriousness this morning. When you open up that door to go hop in the car and it's just crisp, you feel better about things. Oh, and by the way, Greater Baton Rouge State Fair starts today. Could not have written a better script for starting the fair as far as the weather's concerned. Now through November 7th at the fairgrounds. Had Cliff Barton from the fair on earlier in the week. We'll have some tickets to give away for you a little bit later on. If not today's show, then definitely in tomorrow's as well. Got tickets for the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair coming your way. We got a big lineup coming your way. Going to get to sports in just a second. Before we get to sports, though, tell you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. 2 locations, downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. It's been kind of my go-to lately. Believe it or not, right here on Government Street, I can get to the Nicholson location and back quicker than I can the downtown location. I know. Look, if you work downtown and you're thinking that that location on 3rd Street is your go-to, depending on right turns versus left turns and red lights, like we're here on Government Street, boom. Nicholson is super duper convenient. Way more convenient than I ever would have thought. And if you're on campus, it's probably convenient for you there as well. Don't worry about trekking across campus. It's easy in, easy out. Now is the time to, I told you yesterday about dinners. They get the pre-prepared dinners. But today I'm going to tell you about the craft beer selection. I'll put it head-to-head with any craft beer selection in Baton Rouge. You cannot go wrong over at Mathern's Market. If you're looking ahead to the weekend, a bye weekend at that, if you're looking ahead to the weekend, now's the time. Swing by Mathern's on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from Tiger Stadium. Grab yourself a couple beers for the weekend. Get yourself geared up. Halloween weekend at that. They got the great beer selection at both locations. But if you want to swing by Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive from Mathern's, they'll get you set. Ask Tony for a recommendation. He won't swing you wrong. Or steer you wrong, at Mathern's Market. I got to step across the hall for just a second. Yo.
Real soon, the high temperature in August in Baton Rouge and the surrounding area is going to be about 70, 75. Did you know
August?
That? August.
Why is that?
The governor's taking him and 10 people to Scotland. Can't wait to drill his ass. Oh, I live for days like this, Haldane. I might even save that for a mention on Monday.
Okay.
Is that crazy? Do you know what else I'm tired of, Haldane?
What?
Here we go again. Freaking school's out. Man, I can't have the Metro Council meeting.
I was with you on the first one.
Jeez.
I don't want my kids stuck on the road. I don't want
my
when a tornado is flinging cars across the sky.
But you know
want
what?
your kids stuck on the road?
In all my years of going to school in New Orleans, once we got to school, we weren't leaving. We never left. Now we may not have gone because of a hurricane, something. But once we got there, ain't no going home early.
Okay.
I don't remember that. When did that crap start?
I don't know. It's a pain in the ass as a parent, though.
Yeah, I can imagine.
616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP sports time around here. I gotta start with the Saints. Got Tampa coming up for the New Orleans Saints. Tampa coach Bruce Arians is taking a look across the field, taking a look across the division, takes a look at the Saints defense and says, "These guys, they're impressive."
The entire defense. This is by far the best 11 that we've faced this year. Front seven. I mean, Demario Davis, one of the best there is. Same with Cam Jordan. So this is a big physical defense with a great secondary. So, yeah, the defense steps up. Their special teams are outstanding, and they're a challenge. Offensively, Galloway, but it all starts with 41. You got to stop 41. And, if Alvin's running around, we got problems.
He does have problems if Alvin's running around for my 53 fantasy points last weekend. Saints and Bucks going to kick off at 3:25 on Sunday, which means if you're trick-or-treating, that's going to push you back a little bit. And when they do take the field against the Bucks on Sunday, guess who's back, baby? Mark Ingram will be on the sideline for the New Orleans Saints. According to, where am I getting this one from? CBS Sports. New Orleans Saints are bringing back an old friend into the fold. On Wednesday, CBS Sports HQ insider Josina Anderson reported the Houston Texans are trading running back Mark Ingram to the Saints, the club where he began his NFL career. The 31-year-old was originally drafted by the Saints with the number 28 overall pick in the 2011 draft after an incredible run at the University of Alabama, which we ignore. It did include a Heisman, oh, by the way. Ingram signed with the Ravens after the Saints. He was there for a little bit, then moved over to the Texans. He comes back home to New Orleans. The NFL trade deadline is less than a week away, so I wouldn't be shocked if this was wasn't the last trade you saw in the Saints organization. But Mark Ingram comes back to New Orleans, 90 yards away from the franchise record for rushing, so would not be shocked to see that go down either. LSU on a bye week. And numbers are slim. Ed Ogeron talks about what the plans are for the bye week.
A much-needed rest for our team. We're going to have we had a light practice yesterday. We have another light practice today. Then we're going to give them the weekend off, get ready for Alabama next week. This week is about fixing LSU.
Yeah, and when he says fixing LSU, there's a lot that goes into that. Apparently, not enough Tigers to run a Tiger Bowl. Normally during the bye week, they'll do the intra-squad scrimmage there, but according to Wilson Alexander, normally the team would practice in full pads today and then hold the Tiger Bowl tomorrow. This was Wilson talking yesterday morning. Ed Ogeron says they can do neither because of the number of players that are out. So LSU on the shelf this weekend, back at it against Alabama next weekend. Saints, Bucks, Sunday, 3:25. And that's your sports. Taking a quick break here. We're going to check the Fox Business Report. When we come back, got a little more to unpack from Governor John Bel Edwards' press conference lifting the mask mandate. Hopefully this is the last we have to hear about it for now, but I'm guessing, looking to the future, it won't be. That's coming your way next. Yeah, we're not. No. I would, however, like you to write a story and post it online. Yep. Oh, speaking of, I got to get in here right after the show today. Recording the brand with Kerry Guglielmo. So he's going to pop in right at 9. So if you can... whatever you need to wrap up, you can wrap up from 104.5 studio. Cool. All right, I have 13 tickets here, which I thought I only had 8, which would have been 2 4-packs. But apparently they had 5 stuck to the back side. I know. Oh, crap, these aren't mine. Hang on, let me bring these back downstairs and go get mine. I got a different stations.
envelopes.
I need 3 envelopes. We're going to give away 3 4-packs of tickets. I have no idea if Christy's watching this morning, but good morning, sweetheart. Had a great night last night. Got to sit out on the porch and watch the rain. Drinking tequila with my wife. It was. Been caught up on the Kaminsky Method, which is a fantastic show. What an emotional roller coaster of a show. If you're not watching the Kaminsky Method, I highly recommend you start. It's Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin. And a list of celebrities that, like, just seasoned actors that have no business being in some kind of Netflix sitcom, which is not just a sitcom. It's an emotional roller coaster. Kaminsky. Kominsky. Kaminsky Method. A lot of death, I will tell you that. But on a very real human level. .624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So, Greater Baton Rouge State Fair starts this weekend. We are going to be giving away tickets. I've got 3 4-packs of tickets to give away. Not 3 or 4 packs of tickets. I've got 3 packs of 4 tickets each. 3 4-packs of tickets to give away to the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair. And we're going to do this on YouTube. Oh, by the way, we're going to do this on YouTube. We need you to go over there and subscribe. And so I've got the tickets in hand, but I think we're going to give them out tomorrow because we're going to bring back a Friday tradition from when we first started putting the show on Facebook Live. And tomorrow we're going to play Family Feud. That's back tomorrow. If you know, you know. If you don't, get in on the YouTubes tomorrow, and you'll be involved, and you will love it. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Governor John Bel Edwards lifted the mask mandate this week, which, by every gating criteria out there, was the right call. Governor John Bel Edwards in lifting the mask mandate. Jake, I asked you to pull up cut 7. Can you grab cut 1 as well? In lifting the mask mandate, left it in at schools that don't opt out. The schools that can opt out are the ones that are following CDC guidelines. There are a couple schools, East Baton Rouge, a couple school districts, East Baton Rouge, one of them, that's going to leave the mask mandate right where it's at. But rewinding the clock back to last week, during the Ask the Governor show, I guess this is kind of hindsight being 2020, but the governor did give some hints that this was coming. He did give some hints that we were on our way to having the mask mandate lifted.
It's a good question. It's just a little premature. I received my first briefing today about what the current situation is relative to the decision next week on what we keep in place and what we lift. But I will tell you there is a tremendous difference between an indoor setting and an outdoor setting. And Tiger Stadium, as you know, is outdoors. Schools are obviously indoors, and the vast majority of people there, not only are they unvaccinated, they can't be vaccinated. It's not available to them yet. And that makes a big difference in our analysis. Secondly, we know that there are at least as many parents who want masking in schools, or at least they have in the past, in order to feel comfortable enough to send their kids to school, as there are parents who would rather there not be masks. But if you want fewer interruptions in school and more kids in class for longer, then you've got to make sure that you don't have outbreaks. And the current CDC guidelines say that if 2 students are in close proximity to one another, but they're masked, then that's not a close contact, and they don't have to quarantine when one of those students tests positive. And so you have a lot less disruption to education if you do that.
Cannot wait to get to Dr. Cade Brumley next week. He'll be on Tuesday. I can't wait to talk to him about exactly that. When he put out his guidelines giving schools the option to opt out of the close contact quarantining, it was based on the premise that the kids were wearing masks. And the CDC themselves said 2 kids sitting next to each other wearing masks are not considered close contact. Or at least that's what the governor said there. But I wanted to play that soundbite back because of the part where he said just as many parents who don't want masks, there are that many parents who want masks. At no point along the way has what parents want or has what we want been part of the gating criteria. I mean, if that were the case, we would have been done with masks a long time ago, because the crowd that doesn't want masks has been very, very vocal. Very vocal. And look, I've never wanted a mask. I, wore it where I'm supposed to, that sort of thing. But what folks want versus what folks were told they had to do are two completely different things. Now, that being said, when it comes to what folks want, what we got to remember is that we're not done with this pandemic by any stretch of the imagination, and masks could very well be on their way back before this year is over.
It is very clear to me, and should be clear to everyone in the state of Louisiana, the pandemic is not over. We do not know. We cannot know what the future will bring. We know that the more transmission, the more variants. We know that most variants turn out not to be more contagious or more virulent, but some do. But the way we cut down on transmission is by making sure that people are vaccinated and that we continue to exercise caution.
I bring this up because as November approaches, Monday will be November, we start to look forward towards the holidays. And we come out of this fourth surge, the Delta surge, where we saw a maximum of 3,022 people in the hospital. That was by far the most the state has seen since the beginning of the pandemic. But this fourth surge has been so dangerous or so widespread, we shouldn't lose sight of the third surge, which came last holiday season. And it peaked on January 7th when there were 2,069 folks in the hospital. So while we're done with masks for now, not for the, I can't see it for the extended future. I wouldn't be shocked if they came back. All right, quick break. Check news, traffic, weather. Patrick Grimion's coming up on the other side right here on Talk 107.3. It's been a while since we played Family Feud. It's been since the beginning of the pandemic. No, before the pandemic. When we first started doing the whole show on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
I was in.
Yeah, I remember y'all playing Family Feud early on.
Five Below. And Five Below. The store where everything's $5 or less. And I grabbed a platinum edition of Family Feud. And, I mean, we had some fun. We did wrong answers only. We did quickest answer wins. We had some fun with it.
Absolutely. I'm doing well. How are you? Doing good. See some of these.
question is Brian as good of a host as Steve Harvey?
See, I've only been around for so long, so I can't tell.
You can't attest. Gotcha.
But
Knowing Steve Harvey and knowing Brian that you know so far, who do you think would make the better host?
a Family Feud?
Yeah. It's Family Feud, of course.
Sorry, Brian, but I got to give it to Steve.
For what?
I said, who does he think would make the better host, Brian or Steve?
A Family Feud?
Yeah.
Oh, Steve Harvey would.
I can't imagine many people that would be better than him,
I know.
if
that dude
any.
is- Dude makes it rock the house.
I don't have
didn't-
that level of patience.
I didn't always know this, but I just assumed the show was synonymous with him, but they're like,
He's like the 8th or 9th host.
exactly. I only found out about that a few weeks ago. Just because
I was gonna say,
I've only
he's-
been a part of the Steve Harvey era.
I was about to say, he's of late become the host. But what did he do before? Like, how did he get to Family Feud?
He's a stand-up comedian.
Okay, I knew he was a
Long
stand-up
time
comedian.
stand-up comedian. The original Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
I
I just don't remember
But he
him.
was a long-time stand-up comedian before that. He has a talk show, Steve Harvey
Yeah.
Show.
Ask Steve Harvey, but I thought that came after his.
It may have. I don't know. I can't
Like, I
watch
thought it
daytime
came in
TV.
light and
Although
light
I
up.
don't watch daytime TV, but I got Tamron Hall coming on tomorrow. I don't know much about her. I know she's got a daytime show.
Here?
Everywhere. It's nationally syndicated. So
What's it about?
I don't know. I see her sometimes when I'm on the treadmill at the gym. It's on mute.
So you reached out to her and said, "Hey, can you fulfill
I
my
researched-
muted TV fantasies?"
No. She's got a book out or some shit. I don't
Okay.
know. Maybe a podcast.
That's for tonight, Brian, to figure out.
I'll research tomorrow's interviews tonight.
Seems like Steve Harvey had a show called the Steve Harvey
The
Show.
Steve Harvey Show. He had a sitcom. It was
96.
yeah. Wow.
Wow, really?
That
Yeah.
long ago.
96 to 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then what
by
did he-
the way.
So then, what did he do from that stint?
Like
when
after
when did
2002?
he get on Family Feud? That's my biggest question.
I'll look it up.
I do love me some Family Feud.
I don't like the fact that every question is basically sexual innuendo.
Not really.
And then he looks surprised.
Yeah.
Tell me something people in Florida do a lot more than people in Minnesota.
Butt sex.
No, we said Florida and Minnesota, not Alabama and Mississippi. Did y'all see that Polaris that got thrown in the air from the tornado?
The Polaris. Is that the name of the? It's
Side
an
by
ATV.
side.
Yeah.
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 Where is the sweater vest, Clinton? It's right. I got the vest right here, man. Of course I'm wearing the vest. Not sweater vest, just normal vest.
Right. By the way, morning. I'm just now hopping on YouTube's. So Renee, Clint, Eric, Byron, Dwayne. What's up?
It seems like Steve Harvey started in 2010.
I was about to say it's
It's an 11-year run.
Wow.
It's huge. .638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to talk a little business. Time to talk a little entrepreneurship. Time to talk a little business culture. Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show, joins us every Thursday, and he joins us right now. What's happening, dude?
good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. You're in a vest today,
I am because it feels absolutely
Marty
amazing
McFly
outside.
style.
Yes, the vest.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
No, it's so good.
I'm excited. Whenever the vest comes out, it always gets me excited.
It does.
It means
Well,
it's cooler weather.
It's vest weather, to be sure.
Absolutely, especially tonight when it
Yeah.
gets down to the 50s, like a little fire outside, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
Yeah.
Fall is on us. The end of October.
It is.
here.
Finally, it's here. And I mean, it's the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair starts today, so.
I know it's like.
And there's
now
just
is the
something about
time
putting
for outdoor events.
those two things together, right? The beginning of fall weather and like Ferris wheels and corn dogs,
I mean,
or
just-
anything deep fried. You ever had a deep fried Snickers?
No, I've had deep fried Oreo,
Deep fried Oreos,
but not a
so
deep
good.
fried Snicker.
You gotta get after it.
Okay.
So good.
I'll have to add that to my list.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I mean, fairs in general are fun, but during the summer times and the spring times,
No,
those
it's
fairs
just too
aren't
hot.
as
If
fun.
you're standing in line and you're sweating just by standing in line, it's
Yeah.
awful. If you get a little wind burn on your face when you're at the top of the Ferris wheel, that's a good time. We got a lot of business to talk about. Saw this one in the Daily Report, and then I was actually going to send it to you, and then you sent it to me.
Oh, perfect.
This is Louisiana ranks 34th most entrepreneurial state, which, wow, we're top 34, huh?
Top 35. You know, not quite halfway. But
So there are 16 states that can just bite me. When it comes to entrepreneurship, Louisiana ranks 34th, according to a report released by Heartland Forward. The Arkansas-based think tank, there's a phrase I never thought I'd say. The Arkansas-based think tank created a list based on how attractive and fertile each state is for young companies using data like percent of adult population with a bachelor's degree or higher and percent of households with a computer. Now, I'm going to start with this. What does it say about our state to be ranked 34th out of 50?
that we're on the far back end of either people with bachelor's degrees or people with computers in their homes.
So let me follow up with this question. What does it say that a think tank is still looking at a bachelor's degree when talking about entrepreneurship?
That was what caught me off guard. Why is a bachelor's degree a metric here?
Right.
Like,
It's
are we saying
entrepreneurship.
it's entrepreneurship.
You don't have to impress anybody with your resume.
Yeah.
You go out and you hustle. You impress people with sweat equity.
You're not going to hire yourself just because you don't have a bachelor's degree.
Correct.
I mean, you're hiring yourself at this point.
Yeah.
And some people would argue maybe 4 years in the real world trying to run your own business is better than a 4 years bachelor degree.
I think a lot of people would argue that, and a growing number of people would argue that. I find it a weird basis for the whole thing.
It is. I get the computer with how technology-based
This
a lot
is
of
how we
people
do
are.
business now.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then later on in the article, they go, another metric is access to Wi-Fi, access to internet, high-speed internet.
Well, and that's going to bring us around to the broadband conversation in a minute, but let's stick with the the percentage of households with a computer. I find it baffling that this would even still need to be ranked. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we not all have a computer at this point?
So we actually ranked 47th
Right.
with percent of households with a computer in the home. It's 87.4% according to the Heartland Forward report.
Okay, 87%, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that puts us 47th.
Yes.
That means that, I'm just assuming here, most states have more than 90% of their households with a computer.
Yes. Mississippi's
Okay.
49th.
Good for them.
I'm trying to find Arkansas. There it is.
Arkansas is going to be surprising, like how high up they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually ranked 46th
Oh,
overall.
really? Now I'm surprised with how low they are, because they've been growing in this space, to be sure. Now, having a household computer, I take for granted.
Yeah.
But so when we're ranked 47th, and this is where numbers start to get weird. When we're ranked 47th, I feel like we should feel bad that we're low. But if 87% of households have one, you have to ask, who are the 13% that don't? Is this a matter of poverty? Is it a matter of access? Or is it a matter of choice?
Yes. And I would also peg the question, do they have access to a computer? Maybe not in their home, but are they within a distance of a public library that's got a computer,
Right.
a facility that's got a computer? Can we get to where it's 100% access to a computer? For example, my grandfather doesn't have a computer in his home, but he's 85.
Correct.
You know, how
Like,
much
no,
of this,
that's where
how
I'm
much
going
of this
with the
leans
choice part.
Is this an older, is 13% the older demographic who don't want a computer in their home? And then they're causing that swing.
So, weirdly enough, I don't know if I would count in the 87%.
You don't have a computer in your home?
I don't have a personal computer in my home. I have a laptop from work that I bring home. My wife has a laptop from work that she brings home. My daughter has a laptop from school. We all have smartphones. There is no business I can't run from this little guy right here, this little iPhone right here. But if you walk around my house, you're not going to see like an old Hewlett Packard sitting around on a desk.
But I don't think that they're not saying a household computer. They're saying a computer in the home. Your laptop, I think, would qualify. under that.
Households with a computer.
Yeah, I think
Right.
you have 3 business computers in your household.
More than that. But I don't have a personal computer. And I don't know if that's what qualifies or not.
It'd be a good question to ask. I know, like, for example, Sam, I'm in the same boat with you. My wife has a work computer, and then we have a personal laptop.
Let me rephrase it. Should we be looking at a metric of people who have a phone? Like, are we somehow stuck in the 1800s if your household doesn't have a phone, or have you moved on beyond that? That's where I'm going with the 13%.
I think, yes. I think you should look at who has a smartphone, who has a device that allows them to run a business. You can run an entire company off of your smartphone. A lot of people do. So I don't see needing a computer as a necessary metric in order to determine how entrepreneurial a state is.
Percentage of households that have a computer should be requalified as percentage of households with an internet accessing device.
Yes. Well, no, I don't think you can go that broad because your PlayStations, your Xboxes, your Wiis can access internet. Can you run a business off? Now, if you're streaming,
Roku
maybe,
or whatever, yeah.
But you need a computer for that. So I think getting that broad is not a good scope.
All right, they got to figure out a better answer. That's what you get with an Arkansas-based think tank, which is why I thought I'd never say that phrase. I said we were getting back around to something in just a minute. What we're getting back around to? Oh, the broadband question.
Yes.
The broadband question continues to grow, and this is one where the infrastructure package that's in front of the, I believe it's still on the Senate side right now. This is going to come into question there, but we've gone to great lengths to push this here. In fact, Vineeth Iyengar, formerly with economic development on the mayor's office, is now heading this up for the state. But a report like this really brings to light just how needed broadband is, not here in Baton Rouge, but throughout so many other parts of the state.
Absolutely, and especially with what happened with Cox last week. The outage.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you talk about getting your bases and getting everything in a row and getting your actual structure set up, that begs the question: people couldn't buy gas.
Yeah,
your economy gets to a halt if you lose that infrastructure, if you lose that internet access. Not just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, from a business as a whole standpoint.
The report, as per the daily report, the report goes on to say, in terms of computers per household and adults with a bachelor's degree or higher, the Baton Rouge area is higher than the state average. This according to Andrew Fitzgerald with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. When it comes to young firm deals, Baton Rouge is ahead of other Louisiana metro areas, excluding New Orleans. Still, some metrics in the report are real issues around the state, he said, including Baton Rouge, in terms of access to capital, venture capital investment, and angel investment. We got a break here. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about this a little bit because this is one that we don't, if you'll pardon the pun, venture into a whole lot when we talk about entrepreneurship, and we need to talk about different avenues. But we'll do that on the backside of this break on Talk 107.3. This is one that we never delve into.
Access to capital?
Yeah, because we can have idea people all day long. If you can't get it off the ground, then you're totally stuck.
Yeah.
Troy says, I thought you had to be a college dropout to be a successful entrepreneur. It helps.
So, how many people do you think, because I was able to find the actual report on heartland4.org, and I was going through that, and they have it state by state. How many people do you think in Louisiana have a bachelor's degree or higher? And where do you think we rank?
I think we rank about 40th, 45th maybe, I don't know.
47th.
47th.
With 24.3%.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's under 30% for sure.
Yeah. That's of the adult population, so they specified, not the state, the adult population that have a bachelor's degree.
We don't have a lot of 12-year-olds with bachelor's degrees.
That we don't. But what I was shocked with is the business R&D spending per million people. We rank third.
Really?
At $89 million.
Per million people?
Per million people. Business R&D spending per million people.
We've only got 4.5 million people in the state, so that's going to throw that off a good bit.
But you look at the number one. First off, who do you think's number one? Have you read the report?
No, not the internals. Well, not for this. I saw the household computer one and the percentage of college degrees. Who do I think is number one? Oregon.
Oregon?
No, California.
Yeah. Their business R&D spending per million people has them ranked as 48th at $3.7 million.
Wait, California does? Okay, see, that doesn't surprise me. Who is number one when it comes to?
That's a good question. It's got to be a low populated, high R&D spending. It's like Seattle's 43rd when it comes to R&D spending.
Well, Seattle's not a state, but okay.
I mean,
Washington?
yes.
Yeah, you got to have a place where population is low, but you have like one or two city centers that kick it up. California, your R&D spending is going to be in Northern California, where your population in Los Angeles is going to be through the roof, so through the roof that it's going to skew the number per million.
Mm-hmm. Let's check Alaska. They're ranked 11th?
Yeah, they only got like 12 people.
No, they're ranked 11th overall.
Yeah, they've only got like 12 people.
95.6% of people with household in the home. They're second.
With a computer in the household?
Yeah.
That part surprises me, because if I thought anybody would want to get away from computers, it would be...
Alaska.
Let's go to Alaska, where we can have a computer that's connected to nothing.
Hawaii's ranked 12th overall. All right, second for business R&D spending per million people is Wyoming.
It's weird. Okay. And number one?
I'm still trying to find them. They don't list that out. I've got to go through each state.
Oh, okay.
It's taking a hot minute.
Well, good. Where did you say we were? 40th for R&D spending? Or no, we were higher.
We're third.
Third.
Business R&D spending per million people.
Okay. .652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Patrick Crimeon, host of the Patty G Show, joining us as he does every week to talk a little business. By the way, column in The Advocate, here's how local business groups look to spend $2 million of COVID-19 relief money. We're going to dive into that in just a minute. But we had to push pause heading into the break talking about investing or angel investing in or entrepreneurship investing, R&D investment. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur, how do you come across capital, which is a big part of the whole process? So I bring that up, Patrick, because of your show, because of the Patty G Show. You talk to a lot of different entrepreneurs. Now, you've talked to a lot of folks that have been through Brew, the Baton Rouge Entrepreneurship Week, and their Shark Tank-like competition that they have every year, which is fantastic. But where else can locals go for that sort of easy access to people who are interested in investing?
From an easy access standpoint, that's about all you've got.
Yeah.
Is pitch competitions.
Yeah.
You know, when you get there, people are expected to invest in the top person, maybe the second and third place as well. But when it's outside of that and you're hustling and bustling through the state, you've got a small handful of groups that are angel investor groups, like in the New Orleans has a group down there, Baton Rouge, I believe we have a group upcoming. But it's still hard to get in front of them because they only set aside so many funds per year.
Right.
And then their pool of people that they have is so large, they've got to select maybe 5 companies they're investing in. Whereas you look at people along the coast, in California, you can meet somebody in Starbucks and they'll cut you a $500,000 check.
Right. Right. Technology Park does a good job of pairing folks as well. So, but I've always found that interesting because it's when it comes to Brew, when it comes to the Baton Rouge Entrepreneurship Week, That's a great thing for us to have. But 51 other weeks of the year, it's the old school, like, I need to find some sort of collateral to go get myself a loan, like doing things the old-fashioned way. And even with that, you were telling me during the break, we rank third in the country when it comes to R&D investment.
Yeah, business R&D spending per million people, we rank third.
That's incredible.
And looking back on the past guests of the show, I think there's maybe less than 5 out of the 110 people that have actually got investor or angel investing funds. Everybody else has either been bootstrapped, bank loan, or just slowly organically grew with the cash they had on hand.
I'd be curious to see how we could play on a national field if we didn't slowly organically grow.
I would too. It's how do we get the people in Louisiana to say, I'm going to cut you a check a lot sooner than I do already?
Yeah.
How do I get a group of people together to invest in a company and believe in something instead of holding tight to the cash?
Going back to the top of the story, though, needing a college degree to be part of this metric is just silly. Moving on. Grabbing this from The Advocate. Kristen Mossbrooker from The Advocate reporting. BRAC and Visit Baton Rouge are expected to each receive $1 million federal grants from the city parish to support economic development and tourism. The $2 million is coming from the $73 million allocated to East Baton Rouge through the American Rescue Plan Act. Baton Rouge Metro Council is holding a public hearing, or they held this actually last night. Not clear exactly when the money would be released, but it must be spent by the end of 2026. The money has not yet been distributed yet, so it's early in the process, but the leader of Visit Baton Rouge is interested in attracting more tourists. Quote, the industry has been hit very hard. We're not sure when the industry will rebound to where it was in 2019, said Paul Arrigo. Visit Baton Rouge's annual budget is between $5 and $7 million, so a one-time cash influx is a sizable chunk. First and foremost, Visit Baton Rouge love their business model. Mm-hmm. If they don't hunt, they don't eat. Yeah. They get paid based off of hotel motel tax. You put people in hotels and motels by attracting people to Baton Rouge. That is 100% the way it should be done. An influx like this makes up for everybody that they hunted and lost because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and I agree with that. You know, having $5 to $7 million as a budget and someone says, here's another 20%, like that is going to help out tremendously. Getting back to live events, Live After 5 is picking back up. Doing stuff like that.
Hold on. I was on stage. I was the emceeing last week's Live After 5.
How was that?
Ridiculous. First of all, Fat Hat is great. They were fantastic. But the crowd, I mean, if there were, I'm guessing a little over $3,000.
Really?
Yeah. Right around 3,000. I'm a terrible judge of this.
But, yeah, but I mean, still.
But yeah, like I posted a little video up on my Instagram just showing the whole crowd because it covered the entire grounds from the stage all the way back towards the River Center, where I'm sure we got a little boost of people pre-gaming for Cat Williams. Comedian Cat Williams was at the River Center Friday night. I don't care what they were pre-gaming for. They were out there, and it was a great time.
Exactly.
Anyway.
And I think events like that starting to get back, starting to happen. With the cooler weather coming in, people want to be outside more. Mm-hmm. I think that is a big part that Visit Baton Rouge can use to attract people to come visit here, get that leisure travel back.
Yeah. Yeah, the leisure travel is going to have to lead the way because the corporate travel is definitely going to lag.
I think it's going to lag for quite some time. And I think the article said that they won't see what they saw in 2019 until 2025, 2026.
Even that, I think
that's even...
Well, because what you're going to see is the virtual conference is going to remain, if for no other reason, than the number of CFOs around the country who have gotten a look at this on a P&L sheet and said, we don't have to expense any of this anymore. I don't have to fly people all over the country and put them up in hotels and have a per diem for meals. And like all those middle lines on your budget are gone right now. And bringing them back is a tough ask, especially when their income is down too.
Oh, absolutely. And they've already figured out a workaround for how to get the work done without going to the conferences. I think it was Tuesday. I had my first in-person continuing professional education seminar on Tuesday in Metairie.
Yeah.
It's the first one we've had in 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was nice to get back, but still, that's the first time that's happened in so long.
Yeah. Now, when you flew into Metairie and stayed at the 4 Points by Sheraton off of Veterans, I mean, you get what I'm saying, though. You spent, what, $8 in gas to get there and back. You weren't spending a couple of hundred, if not maybe more than $1,000 to make the trip. There's a huge difference there.
Absolutely. But it's still the in-persons coming back the outside coming back, and then looking at what BRAC is doing with their million, their goals, is very different.
Yeah.
You know, when they talk to Adam Knapp, he's talking about how do we fill the 30,000 job vacancies.
Yeah.
That's their focus. You got Visit Baton Rouge. We need tourism, rightly so. That's their revenue model. We got to get people here, get people staying in hotels, motels, to get our funding to boost the economy. Adam Knapp saying, how do we get the workforce back out there?
15 seconds. What's on the Patty G show this week?
Deli DeBoge's on the Patty G show.
No way!
The final episode of 2021.
Excellent. You can get that anywhere you get your podcast. It's part of the Saturdays on Demand here on Talk 107.3 as well. He's Patrick Grimion. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Here comes CBS News. Hey, morning, Nyquillis. Wait a minute, carpool's not over already, is it? You're home for pre-carpool listening. Nyquillis tweeted yesterday, it's off the bench, Jordy and me are his daily decision when it comes to dropping the kids off in carpool and then getting back to the radio habits. All right, that video made it to Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
there it is.
Yeah. Friggin' four-wheeler or Polaris or whatever. Never knew the name of that thing. More than 40 homes damaged in Shreveport. Man, you from Shreveport? How in the shit did I do that?
What did you hit?
The cup.
That cup?
That cup.
And you teach basketball?
Bro.
You a basketball coach?
We're 9-1, and we play with a regulation basketball, not a crumpled up piece of paper. Ass.
Sure.
We are 9-1, or are we 10-1? I lose count when you beat everybody's asses regularly as we do.
There it is. There it is.
Sounds like all you're seeing is doves.
It's
when you're so good, you lose count of how many games you've won.
we've lost one game to St. George and then played them in the Holy Family tournament a couple weeks later and beat them. So, kids have dentist appointment today, so no carpool. Ah, excellent. Well, I hope that is as painless as it can
Everybody's
be.
sitting there, can't wait to beat Brian, can't wait to beat Brian. Brian says just another Thursday.
Bro, we're at St. Aloysius. Well, here's the thing, though, man. This is where it's going to start getting tough because, like, we're about to be the hunted, you know? Like, we've made the rounds and played everybody, and now, like, everybody's going to be out for blood to come back and get us. But, like, there's a couple schools where we've beaten them more than once. There's one school that pulled out of a tournament before playing us, which
maybe their kids got sick, Brian.
we've beaten them twice already. We're going to have to play them. We're going to have to play them again at the regular season. At the end of the regular season.
What ages are this?
4th grade, 9 and 10.
All right, so all the 9 and 10-year-old girls are terrified of Brian.
Not of me. They're not terrified of me. I'm super positive. It's
so
my.
What do you instill in your players, Brian? How do you get them to strike the fear of God into their opponents?
I don't know. I got 14 girls, which should be a disadvantage on paper, because there's never a time where I've got a true starting 5 on the court, because I got to play everybody a full quarter.
Yeah.
So it's always like 2 strong, 3 weak. Weekish. Yeah.
So it sounds like you can get a good, solid 14 players.
I do have 4. Well, I'm growing them. They're growing. They're getting there. Bro.
Lake Charles got hit again.
Yeah, I know. It bounced all the way over there?
Yeah.
It was just so weird. It, like, clipped the very side of the cup. Well, we would need a basketball for that.
Paperball's a big thing, though.
Gotta learn how to throw it.
You can dodge or wrench. You can
Dodge a ball. That's right.
you can shoot a paper ball. You can shoot a basketball.
Well, I thought people are pushing articles and emails about how to get interviews. It's not hard. Just walk up to any business down the street. Can I come work here?
Yeah.
It's 30,000 job openings. Not going to turn you away.
Yeah.
All right, boss.
I do. Yeah, I gotta.
You got to what?
Figure out how we can start helping coordinate particular industries back with the chamber for pushes, for individual pushes. Close. Yes, Abby has got basketball first, and then we're going out to run. But it's the last meet of the season, so she wasn't going to miss it for the world. In fact, she might even miss basketball if the times overlap too much. But we'll be out there, the younger division, so I think we're last. But hope to see you there. Anyway, last show of the season. When are you out as far as this is concerned? Okay.
Doesn't matter yet.
Okay.
Next week I could be calling you from the hospital. Who knows?
Well, you're not calling me from the hospital. I'm going to send you back in to take care of your wife and bebe. Nate, you said y'all having a girl. You don't know what you're having. You don't know what you're having. Okay.
No, November 19th is the day, but it could be any day at this point. She's 37 weeks tomorrow.
She got a rose on Sunday? Oh, you didn't go to church. Oh!
I was at 10:30 Mass.
So was I. 706, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. You better get your butt to confession.
I was at church.
Oh, I was there.
At the end,
Yeah?
she wasn't feeling well. We had to leave.
Okay.
Leave after 2 years.
Fair.
I was there.
All right. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. My bad, y'all. A little off-the-air conversation with Patty G. Continue. He's an expecting father. His wife is at 37 weeks, and we were talking about the upcoming weeks and mapping out the rest of the year so that he can properly take care of his duties as a husband and father. So, spilled back over past the intro. Got a busy hour coming your way this hour. Coroner Dr. Beau Clark is going to join us in our next segment. He's been looking at COVID deaths. He's been looking at opioid deaths, and he's now looking at a record number of homicides as well. He will join us in our next segment to break it down. Also this hour, Sergeant Don Coppola stopping by for Crimestoppers. Let's see if we can't catch some bad guys. That's coming up later on. Right now, though, it is time for Top Stories and Trending. Let's get it. A man who police linked to a September 26th apartment fire has been arrested for arson and other related charges. According to investigators with the Baton Rouge Fire Department, Derek Davis was taken into custody Tuesday, charged with attempted aggravated arson, improper telephone communication, and terrorizing. Officials say he played a role in the aforementioned apartment fire in the 1700 block of North Marquand Drive. When firefighters responded to the incident, they discovered that an unknown substance had been poured on the structure's doorway. Fire department's investigators analyzed the crime scene, eventually determined Davis intentionally attempted to set the apartment on fire. Davis is in prison. CAT CEO Bill DeVille accepted thousands of dollars in a car and phone allowance last year, despite the agency canceling car allowances for 13 of their highest paid employees the year before. Katz claimed the reimbursement was necessary because a payroll error caused DeVille to be underpaid. WBRZ asked why DeVille took home a car allowance a year after they canceled him. Quote, he has a contract with Katz, board member and treasurer Matt Thomas said. That contract specifies he is to get an allotment to cover his basic expenses of $700 per month. That is what the contract states. But despite the contract, Katz also said he's no longer collecting that car allowance. When our news partners at WBRZ asked why he accepted the public money last year, Thomas said it was part of the contract that he signed back in 2016. So the governor lists the mask mandates, says certain schools can opt out. Do you want a breakdown of who's in and who's out? Well, here we go. East Baton Rouge Parish, keeping the current masking guidelines. And by current, I mean previously in the week. Also keeping them? Nope, that's it for our area. How about that? Ascension Parish, no mask mandate. Diocesan schools, Catholic schools in Baton Rouge, no mask mandate. Livingston, St. Helena, West Baton Rouge, West Feliciana, and Zachary, no mask mandate as of today for all of these. Some of them started it yesterday, some of them started it today. Now, if your kid goes to a Catholic school and you have to use the busing system for the public schools, you do need to know that federal mandates still require masks on public transportation. So they can take the mask off when they get to their Catholic school, but if they're taking the bus to get there, they got to have it on the bus. Overnight Wednesday, a fire broke out in a College Drive apartment complex, and 2 people on the second floor escaped by jumping from the second story, injuring themselves in the process. According to the Baton Rouge Fire Department, it occurred at Bienville Towers Apartments, was reported shortly after midnight Thursday. Firefighters say when they arrived at the scene of the blaze, they found police officers helping the 2 who jumped from the second story. They were taken to an area hospital for treatment. They're expected to be okay. Firefighters put the blaze out shortly after arriving and prevented the flames from spreading to other units. We've got a record on our hands on Wednesday. Students at Southern University released 19 white balloons, one for each year. Fellow student Shayla James lived on this earth. Last week, she was shot to death in her bed. Shayla is one of 140 people in the parish who were killed this year. It's heartbreaking, said her mom, Chandrika. You see it all the time, but you never expect it to hit that close to home. Yes, you heard that number right. To date, there have been 140 homicides this year, surpassing the 2020 total, which was 136, which was also, if I'm not mistaken, a record. And, oh, by the way, we've still got 2 months to go in the year. We're going to talk with coroner Dr. Beau Clark about this extensively in our next segment, along with COVID deaths and opioid deaths and suicides and everything else that has had to cross his desk over the course of 2021. That's a look at your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending. Jake! I don't believe you know the shark and alligator rule yet.
The what?
The shark and alligator rule.
What is that?
Taylor was very versed. So was Chuck, for that matter. Very, very versed in the shark and alligator rule. The shark and alligator rule is simple.
Educate me.
If there is a story about a shark, an alligator, or basically any animal out there doing something out of the normal, out of the norm, I'm finding it, and it's making its way to our trending story.
Gotcha.
And this is what we have today. The alligator rule's in effect today.
Let's hear it.
An Alabama apartment complex was paid a visit by an unusual guest as children were coming home from school. An alligator that crawled out of a storm drain. Kenesha Miller and her boyfriend, Anthony Patterson, told WKRG-TV they were driving home Monday afternoon when they stopped to do a double take in a downtown Mobile neighborhood. I know, right? The couple tried to get police and wildlife officials to the scene quickly as the reptile inched toward the complex. A school bus was dropping off kids, not even 50 feet down the street.
Oh, my God.
It's all playing out in real time. You got the kids getting off the bus over here. You got the alligator coming out the storm drain over here. Somewhere you've got the clock ticking from 24 with Kiefer Sutherland in the background. No worries. Wildlife officials got there. They safely captured the alligator, took it away. No one was hurt in the incident. Wildlife didn't say where they took the alligator away to. Also, nobody reported on how big the gator was. What is wrong with you, Alabama? That's half the battle, is bragging on how big the thing was.
If you mention any sort of alligator or shark, especially alligator, though, especially here, you have to talk about how big that gator was.
You know, and it doesn't even have to be an exact measurement. We can go with tree shaker. Oh, that a tree shaker. Yeah. 713, Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break, coming back, talking with coroner Dr. Beau Clark next. Yep.
But if it's a tree shaker, you know exactly what that is. Even though I was raised in Texas, I was surrounded by a bunch of Louisianans that fled because of
Well, swamp people.
We watch swamp people all the time. Great show.
What the shit? No. Just like a shooting pain up my left arm. F. No. Damn, it's going now. That was weird. Nyquil says, coroner tells us who died. Crimestoppers tells us who did it. That's funny. Is it just me or have there been a normally high number of fires lately in Baton Rouge? Yeah, I was getting that vibe as well. You know what? I got the fire department coming on tomorrow. We're supposed to talk trick-or-treating safety, but we'll dive into that. No, it didn't start at the elbow. It started right here and just like went up to the elbow. Well, and I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. I haven't lifted in 2 weeks because of my back, which is almost better. No, I know. I feel like it would be the opposite. I feel like that would be something that if I were lifting heavy, then I don't know. I'm moving on. .716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. So 2021 has been a deadly year for Baton Rouge. Drug overdose deaths set a record, which, if I'm not mistaken, last year set a record, and this year broke that record with a new record. Same is now true for homicides. Clearly, COVID's only got 2 years to judge off of, and 2021 saw more than 2020. And when you add into that everything else in the mix, up to and including suicides, coroner Dr. Beau Clark has been busier than any coroner should be, and he joins us right now. Dr. Clark, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. I'm well, thank you.
Thank you for coming on with us this morning. I hate that I can never have you on like about a picnic or something, but it's always a very somber topic. You know, exactly. You laid out the statistics yesterday. So just in a nutshell, how bad has it been this year?
So, I mean, it's a record year, and it's not records that we like to break. We've seen more homicides this year than we ever have in the history of the parish. Overdoses, to date we have 248. And I probably have another 10 to 20 toxicology reports that I'm waiting on. These are pending cases. So that number could easily grow in the next week or so, plus any new cases that might occur with the remainder of the year being another 2 months. So I'm concerned that overdose number might even hit 300 by the end of 2021. And, I mean, this is just not a place we want our community or our society to be. Like I said yesterday in my press conference, I don't want to report about any of these because I don't want anybody to die as a result of them. And that to me is a good day in the coroner's office. Yeah.
And so before we move on to the homicides, let's stick with the overdose deaths for a second. A lot of this, I'm sure, is the opioid crisis, but are we seeing other overdose deaths as well, or is this like 100% fentanyl?
Well, it actually went the opposite direction. So out of the 248 cases, only 28 of them did not involve illicit fentanyl. Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing now is that people that traditionally were not opioid abusers, folks that may have used cocaine or methamphetamine, are now going and purchasing either cocaine or methamphetamine adulterated with fentanyl, or they're getting straight up fentanyl and they don't even know it. And so you take an individual who is opioid naive because they don't abuse that typically, and they're given an adulterated drug with fentanyl in it or straight fentanyl, and they have a massive overdose and die. And I don't think it's very long before we start finding fentanyl laced in marijuana. And there's a tremendous amount of recreational marijuana use in our country. So if we don't do something about the illicit fentanyl, these numbers are just going to continue to get worse.
Kind of off topic, but kind of not. And this is just totally me soliciting an opinion. I don't know how much background you've got with recreational marijuana or the implementation of legalizing it. But would legalized recreational marijuana curb that problem before it happens? I mean, being able to get it through a licensed dispensary would be a lot safer than getting it from, like, Skinny Pete.
Right. So that certainly is true. Just like getting a pharmaceutical pill is safer than buying a pill off the street.
Right.
However, people still are going to go either direction, right? I mean, some people will go, like right now, go to the pharmacy and get their medicines. Other people turn to the street for the illicit side. So just by legalizing something does not eliminate the illicit market.
Not eliminate, but hopefully reduce as well. But yes, your note of caution is definitely taken. Moving from opioids or moving from overdose deaths over to the homicide number, we're at 140, and based off of an average, it's we got 2 months to go. Traditionally, do November and December bring a large number of homicides through your office?
We traditionally, if you look back over the last decade, I've been coroner. We have seen a lot of the homicides occur mostly in the hot summer months. Mm-hmm. However, I mean, as you know, this is unpredictable. So, I mean, it's a matter of waiting and seeing. I do think there is somewhat of a corollary oftentimes between the drug activity that we see in the community, and you can base that on the overdose numbers, and the homicide activity. We do have the occasional domestic scenario, which is not drug-related, but for the far in between are the drug-related homicides. Those two tend to go hand in hand. You mentioned domestic homicides, and that the domestic homicides have set a record within their own little individual category as well. Is there any way that your office can extrapolate any cause behind this, or do you keep to the whole, this is what's in front of us and we go no further? Right. That's a job really for the judiciary. Basically, after we've made our determination and gathered the forensic evidence for the case, then it ends up in a court of law, and then those details are separated and illustrated.
Well, I ask you that because one of the comments from the press conference coming from you was law enforcement has to limit the supply chain. We have to help people with substance abuse problems. If we don't do both, we're destined to be unsuccessful. What kind of suggestions would go along with that comment?
Right. So, there's two sides to this equation. I mean, we certainly can talk about the addict and their need for substance abuse treatment. And believe me, there's a lot of people out there suffering from substance abuse disorder. Mm-hmm. However, if they have ready access to illicit drugs, then you're making your ability to treat these folks that much more difficult. So from that perspective, going after the drug dealers or the bad guys in our scenario is vital, and you got to do both. If you do both, then I think we can have some success, and we can truly save some people's lives. We have
a new weapon in the arsenal, if you will, with the Bridge Center. I guess since we're seeing record numbers, it hasn't had a chance to take any real effect yet, but do you expect the Bridge Center to help show us some success as part of this overall equation? Right.
I think it will. I think any treatment facility has that ability. But again, what I'll reiterate is the person goes and gets their treatment, they come out of the treatment facility, and if they fall off the wagon, as is said, in the community, then the illicit drug dealer is sitting on the corner waiting to prey on them, then that becomes the issue. So Bridge Center was one part of the solution for the treatment side, but we've got to have the law enforcement and take down the drug dealer on the other side.
Coroner Dr. Beau Clark is our guest. We're talking about the overwhelming amount of work that his office is said to do this year, as we're seeing a lot of death coming to us from a lot of different angles. We've talked about overdoses. We've talked about homicides. Let's move on to talk about COVID deaths as well, as the Delta surge clearly has taken a toll in Louisiana. Has that toll been seen in East Baton Rouge like it has been in other parishes?
Yeah, so we saw to date in 2021, we've had 517 COVID deaths. All of last year was 548. That's 2020 numbers. So I think we're kind of right on par for what we saw last year. Certainly, the Delta variant contributed to that, and if you look towards the future, there's the possibility of other variants. That's how viruses work; they mutate, and we might see again similar numbers. If the virus doesn't mutate and the community develops immunity, whether that be active or passive immunity, depending on whether you get vaccinated or you get the disease and you develop immunity to it, then I think we'll see a lot of suppression of those numbers as years go by, and that is in essence the ideology of how viral infections work. Even if you go back, look historically at all the plagues and viruses that have affected mankind, you'll have these large spikes at the beginning because you have a non-immune society, and then immunity will develop, and then it will become COVID will become similar to other viruses that we know about, like the flu, et cetera.
I'm actually a little bit surprised by that number because we still stand the chance of having fewer COVID deaths in 2021 in East Baton Rouge than we did in 2020.
We do. But it might be close, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
It likely will be close, but that just, when you look at the overall number of cases this year versus last year, this year is far outpacing the overall number of cases. So I guess it's hard to take away a positive when you're talking about 500 plus deaths of anybody, but percentage-wise, that's showing we're learning on the fly.
That is, so a couple things in the medical world. Number one, we got better as we learned about the virus over the last 2 years. We got better with treatment and how to treat it was one side of it. And the other side of it was the development of immunity. And so you get immunity two ways. You get immunity actively. If you do get the virus, you survive it and your body develops it, or you get it passively if you get vaccinated. And now we have those tools in our toolbox, which is protective of us as humans.
Coroner Dr. Beau Clark, our guest, got a couple more minutes left, and I've got to shift to one more topic with it under that same umbrella, and that is suicide. Where is East Baton Rouge at for this year?
So we're right where we always are. I've looked at suicides for the last 10 years in the parish. Sadly to say, we still have them, but that number usually fluctuates between 40 and about 60 suicides per year over the course of that decade. And every now and then we'll see it get on the higher end, but we never have had a year where there was a large spike, similar numbers, I guess, that we're seeing with homicides and overdoses.
That's an interesting takeaway as well, because while we're seeing spikes in overdose deaths, we're not seeing a spike in the suicide, but probably both can be attributed back to some sort of breakdown in the mental health chain somewhere within the pandemic. I mean, I hate to attribute too much to one thing. There's a lot of variables there, but seeing a spike in one without the other, does that take you by surprise?
No, it's nice that we have a number that doesn't seem to be continually growing every year. Although, I mean, suicide, I think we would all agree, we wish that number was zero as well.
Of course.
And so, but I have not seen anything that absolutely contributed to the pandemic, any growth in the number or any really cases that were directly pandemic driven. However, I will say the pandemic did place a tremendous amount of stress on a lot of people in our community, whether it be from their job loss or other factors that create stress. And so hopefully, with as we move forward and we've developed this immunity, we're becoming better at fighting the virus. The mask mandates are getting lifted. The community's opening back up from a business perspective. Maybe that certainly should help impact things.
He is Coroner Dr. Beau Clark. We always appreciate the time, sir, and here's to November and December being just, boring in your office. If we could take anything away from this, then the thought that the summer months are always worse is hopefully one we can ride with.
Well, we would be happy to be bored for the next 2 months. I think that would be great for this community.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. In the meanwhile, we always appreciate your information and your service. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Brian. Have a good day.
You too. Coming up on 729 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. I mean, where was the number? I got to look it back up again. He said 28 of 248 overdoses. did not have fentanyl involved. We will eventually turn the corner. We will eventually turn the corner when it comes to not just drug overdoses specifically, but dealing with this poison that is fentanyl. It's fentanyl laced this, fentanyl laced that, and it's not just about, it's not just about the opioid deaths anymore. And you heard him say it. He won't be shocked if you start seeing fentanyl laced marijuana as well. With so much attention being paid and a number of resources starting to be allocated towards it, one has to think we're going to turn the corner with this crisis as well. All right, 7:30, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to get you to news here in just a second. We got Crimestoppers on the back end of our news. Hey, next hour, we got an update from FEMA. They have extended their deadline to apply for aid. It is now going to be November 29th. It was supposed to be, I believe, today. Today was supposed to be the deadline. Pushed back to November 29th. If you are a veteran of storms, if you've been around a little bit and seen damage from previous storms, you know that was almost to be expected. But we'll talk with Nathan Custer in our next hour. Also talk with Pearlina Thomas from CATS in our next hour as well. They made an announcement yesterday about touchless pay systems. Got that and a couple of other topics to cover before we get out of here. Got news coming your way in just a second. We'll check CBS News. We'll check our local news, traffic, weather. Then Sergeant Don Capola is in next for Crimestoppers. Oh, do I? All good. All good. I'm sorry, say again?
I'm like going extra on this right now. Like I've done this twice already where I pretty much upload it and get it all together almost at the end of the segment, or once it's over, have it uploaded, and pretty much everything will be posted except for the Mark Shannon.
All good. All good.
Here's a question for you, if you got a moment to think.
What?
What is the weirdest or most bizarre alligator story you have ever heard that actually happened? Does anything come to mind?
I really don't know.
Okay. For anyone listening in on YouTube, if you got a crazy alligator story, let us know. Brian may not have time to read it, but I would certainly love to see what y'all have to say.
Morning. What's up?
Oh, just doing my best. Oh, that's going to be tomorrow. Giving away tickets to the Greater Baton Rouge State Fair. Yeah.
What, are you still hurting?
Oh, God. I might be an opioid death before it's all said and done.
Unless you re-injured it, or is it the same?
No, this is from last week.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm actually not taking opioids. I'm taking muscle relaxers, but I'm told those are dangerous too.
What do you need?
They make me tired. Very, very tired.
I bet they do. Bless you.
Taking a muscle relaxer is like having 3 kids.
You don't need that. Well, I have a recommendation for you. An additional one.
10 minutes unsupervised in the evidence locker?
Well, I was thinking more hands-on.
Shit, I should have done that on air. Hey, YouTube, you saw him freezing his tracks? Acre. Oh, no, that's not him. That's me. That's me. You were thinking more along the lines of physical therapy?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So, buddy, we'll just kind of revisit the previous guest, Red Ribbon Week, domestic violence, and then drug take back.
I want to start with drug take back. Because
Then we'll talk about the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month of October. And then the first fugitive I have is actually, it's domestic related.
okay.
So, and then with Halloween being, is it Sunday for Baton Rouge or Saturday?
Sunday.
Yeah, just some maybe reminders, you know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I got the fire department coming on tomorrow to talk trick-or-treat and safety. They put out a press release earlier in the week.
The fire department.
They put out a press release. Honestly, it's yeah, I was surprised that they were putting that out, but
All right, one of our fugitives just got arrested.
like just now?
Just now, yeah.
That's crazy.
So we can maybe mention that, you know, while we're sitting here. I don't know if it was from a tip, but it was we work with the state and federal partners, the task force, and one just got picked up.
That's
I just
awesome.
got the text.
So we complete collision and BRPTs coming up.
Okay.
So maybe I can just touch on the fire department and then maybe give some motorist tips.
Absolutely.
This is Crimestoppers on Talk 107.3 FM. I think I've got catch you where every week we take a closer look at fighting crime. Crime prevention. As always, if you have information that you think would help solve a crime, call 344-STOP. All it takes is a phone and an open mind. No one will know. Aye, aye, sir. It's Crimestoppers on Talk 107.3 FM.
Yes, it is time for Crime Stoppers. Time to welcome in Sergeant Don Coppola. Don, how's it going?
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
It's impossible to be in a bad mood when you wake up with this weather.
Well,
It's
right.
cooler outside. You don't have the humidity punch you in the chest.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to deal with wind all day, but it's
But
just
that's okay.
it's fall.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
it's time to feel good.
It is, and with fall, just with the holidays around the corner, or you could say almost here,
Yeah,
puts everybody in a good mood.
it absolutely does. Hey, we got a lot of ground to cover today.
Yes,
we
we
got
do.
some bad guys to catch. We've actually got breaking news within that. But I got to rewind the clock back to last week. Last week, this time, Brian Singleton and Randy Harness from the DEA were in for this segment talking about a drug take-back program that happened Saturday at 9000 Airline Highway. How'd it turn out?
It turned out fantastic, and I haven't been in this seat in a while, and
I know.
It's good to be back here. But yes, Baton Rouge Police Headquarters was one of the collection sites. It went from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 145 vehicles passed through Baton Rouge Police Headquarters to drop off unused, unwanted, expired prescription medication for a total of around 1,300 pounds collected.
Wow.
Just at that one site. Now, there was other sites throughout the city, throughout the parish, and really this is a nationwide event. But the response was amazing. We had people, driving up even after the 2 p.m. Deadline. We took that, reminded people that Baton Rouge Police has a permanent drop box in their lobby of their headquarters.
Yes.
We'd love to see you, on these events, and we want to keep you coming. But if you have something you need to dispose of, you can always go to Baton Rouge Police Headquarters. There's a permanent drop box to do it safely.
1,300 pounds?
1,300 pounds.
It's pretty incredible.
That is incredible.
Well, because when you consider the weight of a pill.
Yes.
When the weight of a pill is nothing. I mean, so,
no. So
adding that up to 1,300, I know.
It's
a lot of pills.
It's amazing, and we appreciate everything you have done to promote this and your listeners. So we thank you again.
Is there a way to get a breakdown on what those drugs were? Like how much of it was, some of the bad stuff, some of the opioids I just got done talking with the coroner about, or how much was like heartburn?
Not, because when it's an anonymous, you collect the prescriptions and they go into a box and they're sealed.
Okay.
And then the DEA takes them and disposes them through their means. So they don't actually go through. It's just a collection and a disposal.
So anywhere from OxyContin to Cialis, it all goes in the same box.
Same box.
Excellent. 1,300 pounds collected. Good job, well done. You know what? I referenced the interview I just did with coroner Dr. Beau Clark and opioids, which is the impetus behind the drug take-back program in the first place. But we also talked a little bit about domestic violence, and this is something that Baton Rouge Police and Crimestoppers have had at the top of their radar. To be certain, domestic violence numbers are not where they need to be, but there's been a concerted effort here.
There has been, and October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but the other 11 months of the year are Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well, okay? Because of the fact that even though October they focus in, this is something year-round. If you're a victim, if you know someone who is a victim, and again, we talked before, Brian, it's not just the physical, it's the mental as well.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you can nip it in the bud, and there's programs out there, the Butterfly Society, and so many different programs. Somebody can reach out to, pick up the phone, even if it's not you, if you have a concern about a loved one, about a friend, pick up that phone, explain the situation, and try to get the help that's needed before it gets to the point where it could be the worst case.
Well, yeah, and this is something that not always, not in all cases, but in some, if not most, you do see an escalation. It goes from one level of violence to another level of violence to death. And that's why speaking up early is just like with cancer, early detection is important. Same thing here.
Same thing.
Early detection is important.
Myself and Johnny Dunham, we were in Ascension Parish not too long ago in Donaldsonville. Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office had a little awareness, and they had some victims of domestic violence and tell their story, and it kind of hits home when you stop and think about it, and they had a local school band that were out there playing, and these victims directed their attention to these young students because of the fact that domestic violence could include even dating, a dating partner. at
Oh,
that
yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you assume that it's an adult, you assume that it's married couples, but unfortunately that's not the case. It could start, as early as middle school. You just don't know. So there's programs out there, and they can always contact Crimestoppers as well.
At 344-STOP, 344-STOP is the phone number. So speaking of domestic violence, let's see if we can't catch some bad guys.
Look, on our first fugitive, Donatello Jones. Donatello Jones is wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department on charges of domestic abuse battery, aggravated assault with a firearm, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Investigators believe that Jones was occupying a vehicle with a female acquaintance of his. This vehicle actually belonged to the female, which she allowed him to drive. During their drive, an argument ensued. Something she said really must have triggered him, because he immediately started beating her with a closed fist in the face, pulled out a firearm, pointed at her, and kicked her out of her own vehicle. And he drove off. So again, Donatello Jones, wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department, and this is just one of those cases, as we just spoke about, as the coroner just spoke about.
Yeah.
These acts are serious. They need to be taken serious, and so anyone with information on the whereabouts of Donatello Jones, 344-STOP, the P3 app, get us that information, so we can get this passed on to investigators.
And this is the part that loses me every time, is I don't know what would cause or trigger that level of that violent of a reaction. And really within 1 inch of her being dead.
1 inch.
Like the pulling of a trigger, that's it. Because it put the gun to her head. Like
just a second, a millisecond. And as you said, you don't know. Was he having a bad day? Was this the tip of the iceberg? And unfortunately, we may never know. But with the community contacting Crimestoppers with his whereabouts, investigators can contact him and maybe get those answers that we're looking for now.
Absolutely. Who else we got?
We have Joshua Henson. Joshua Henson is wanted by Baton Rouge Police Department on the charges of forgery, monetary instrument abuse, felony theft, identity theft, and bank fraud. It appears Mr. Henson has stolen a rent check out of an apartment box, stole identification from a former roommate of his, went to a local bank in the Baton Rouge area, attempted to cash this rent check after it was altered with the stolen identity. And investigators did a great job working with this local bank and the victims here to identify Joshua Henson.
When did this happen?
This happened earlier this month.
Okay.
Toward the first part of October.
Okay. That's just an interesting turn of how things play out. I mean, you lift a rent check out of the mail and...
Lift the rent check. It's believed he stole identification, altered the check, and then went attempted to cash it.
I mean, no, because you go back to elementary school when you got the bad report card and you tried to forge your parents' name. I imagine trying to play that off like you just scratch out Sunny Meadow Apartments and write in
a D, a B.
Henson. Like it's not. No, you're not going to alter a check in 2021 and have it pass off. That's just a poor business model by Mr. Henson.
And while we were sitting before we came on air, I was notified that we had a Joshua Glover, who was also wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department on some counts of cruelty to juveniles, along with some other charges that went with that. While we were here, and we work with our federal and state partners with the task force. They do a great job for us with investigators, but as I sat down, I received notice that the Louisiana State Police Fugitive Task Force was able to apprehend Mr. Glover. So
pull him off the list. We caught some bad guys.
Caught some bad guys, real time.
And
that's what
see now that sucks though, because it's not even 8 o'clock in the morning. You're sitting down on like a nice bowl of Mr. T cereal or something, and then
Knock on the.
I mean, come on! I haven't even had my coffee yet, and boom, you're in handcuffs.
Yeah, and these guys do a great job, of course. You know, the Marshals Task Force, LSP Task Force, and we can't thank them enough for the great job they do and helping us.
We're going to run out of time. We got 30 seconds left, but I do want to note when it comes to Mr. Glover's arrest, we have no idea if that came from a Crimestoppers tip. Why? Because Crimestoppers tips are 100% anonymous.
100%. 100%. We don't want to know who you are. We just want the information you have to get these crimes solved.
344-STOP is the phone number, or download the P3 app. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. He is Sergeant Don Coppola, joins us every Thursday. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You too. Have a happy Halloween.
You as well.
Your money now, coming your way right now. All right. So I did not make a joke about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because domestic violence is that serious. Your boy's name's Donatello. Like last scene with Leonardo, Raphael.
Hey, look, I would have kept rolling as I do.
No, I know.
I'll be feeling better.
I appreciate it, man. I'm actually about 80 to 90% better than I was last week. So it's just, it's everybody. The pain is exhausting, but muscle relaxers are tiring. Like they're just,
Buddy,
yeah.
I was introduced to Trifecta, which is on Goodwood at Independence.
Okay, that's right down the street from your work. So
It's the old Baton Rouge Blueprint store.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
It's not. It's a lot of massages is just to feel good right now.
Yeah.
But they use scrapes. They use the suction thing. I mean, it's more
Cupping?
The cupping. Yeah, that's what it is. Cupping. Amazing. Highly recommend.
So I actually work with BRPT. They sponsor the show. So I'll probably hit them up if this persists. I'm still at the point where I can't do anything about it because I feel like I'm still too close to the injury to feel like it's like I need some sort of extra treatment.
Buddy, you need to get it. You're too young for that.
44.
Don't even get me started, bro. Have a good look.
I gotta get. If I don't get back to lifting soon, I'm gonna go stir crazy. If like every day is leg day and I can't do anything right now, so that's when I start. Meanwhile, so the whole, you know, I'm gonna start that probably Monday. I'll start walking again Monday. There is.
On the abandoned too. Yeah.
Bro, we need like a full-on gym, but without a shower, a gym is useless.
Yeah, you need Flynn shower.
Flynn is a shower?
Yeah. Your podcast is ready for me to pull the trigger and it go. It's been approved by Apple and Spotify, and it's on the website.
Appreciate you, Don.
Couple things I didn't ask you about. Title of the episode, do you just want it to say episode and guest, or do you have like a quirky title for this first one or something like that? How do you want to handle it?
Episode and guest is fine. Okay. It's just from.
And then is it
for search purposes, a silly title or like a creative title? Like no one's gonna type into Google what I'm saying on here. So.
Yep. You're doing like a mix of entrepreneur, news, people, or is it only because this first one's news? Right?
Yeah, the first one's very news based.
Yeah.
A couple of them are news based, but it's just people telling their stories. So whether it be the guy who has the ice cream machine that can replace tissue during save tissue during a surgery. This is the most recent episode, the Inventherm guy.
I haven't listened to that.
It's the guy Danny Fields was working with.
Oh, cool.
And it's ridiculous. Like, so you take soft serve ice cream, the same technology used to keep soft serve at that temperature, you could put the saline solution that they use in surgery and pump it through, and it preserves muscular tissue during surgery. Cool story, bro. That's where it comes from. Like that's the whole purpose of it. So
I'm gonna go tweak the title of that and put it that way.
Okay.
And within 5 minutes or so, if you want to say it to the world, it'll be ready to go. So I don't know if you're gonna bring it up or not.
Soft launch. I'll mention it tomorrow morning after I have Michelle on.
I'm gonna send you this, but there's a link tree also. I don't use this for everything. I tend to just pick the 2 or 3 links that I think are most important when I share stuff, like here's Spotify, website, Apple, you'll see a lot. But everything lives in one spot now, and it even ties back to like your YouTube and your socials.
You have my OnlyFans in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so you'll see that link, and then you just click Spotify, and it brings straight up. Cool story, bro.
Nice.
So you ready
Love
to
it.
go?
Appreciate it, Jay. Thanks a million, man.
All right, y'all. Later.
Yeah. All right. So the podcast is launched. People telling their stories. It's basically just tell me a story, something awesome that happened, or something terrible that happened that you worked your way through. First episode, and I'm gonna dive into this a lot more. I'm gonna have Michelle Southern on tomorrow. She hosts the Only in Louisiana podcast, which is an amazing podcast, and it's back as of this week.
Cool.
But the whole purpose of Cool Story Bro is amazing things are happening all the time. We just don't take enough time to capture them and learn from them, replicate them, that sort of thing. First episode is my mentor, Matt Kennedy, was working. He's worked in radio for 30 years.
Fresh after National Mentor Day,
Yeah.
or something like that yesterday.
Anyway. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Thanks again to Sergeant Don Capola for stopping by for Crimestoppers. By the way, if you were listening on the air, you caught the serious end of that. But if you weren't watching on YouTube, you missed a ton during the break before and the break after. Anyway, 344-STOP is the phone number. The point at the end of that segment is the most important point throughout. You're never going to know if an arrest was the result of a Crimestoppers tip because the tips are anonymous. The pieces of the puzzle come together, but it's never coming back to the person who called in, except in the form of the reward, which is also anonymous, which we got to get Don to check in one more time on that before the year's out to go through the procedure. It's a fascinating, not fascinating, it's pretty straightforward, but it's eye-opening to see what lengths they go to make sure you are protected when you are the one with the information that is doing good for society. Anyway. Got the outside in coming your way in just a second. Do have to tell you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. They've got two locations, Plank Road and Zachary, Perkins and Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. 768-9898 is the phone number, 768-9898. Love telling you about Complete Collision Center. I love telling you about their certifications and how they find hidden damage. I love telling you about how they fix your car back to the way it was supposed to be, not just to make it look good. Crumple zones, hidden damage, redundancies and safety that the manufacturer puts in, they find, they fix, they get you back on the road safely at Complete Collision Center. Check them out online, CompleteCollision.com, CompleteCollision.com. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. All right, time for the outside in. Let's get it. Starting off in Calcasieu Parish, where yesterday's storms brought with it at least 2 tornadoes that touched down in Lake Charles. According to Calcasieu's Emergency Preparedness Director, at least 40 homes were damaged and at least 1 person was injured as a result of the storm. Also from that storm, East Feliciana Parish saw 1,385 homes lose power. Tangipahoa Parish, 1,075. New Orleans, which has often trailed behind the state in loosening their coronavirus safety measures, will join the rest of the state in lifting their mask mandate. Mayor LaToya Cantrell announced that the city will lift its indoor masking requirements starting tomorrow. Like the statewide order, masks will be required in K-12 schools down in New Orleans and at healthcare facilities as well. Also, public transit. In Madison Parish, 3 inmates were stabbed at a jail. Get this. This is the way it's phrased in the Advocate article. Run by a private company because staff were deliberately indifferent to their safety. This is what a new lawsuit claims. Attorneys with the Roderick Solange MacArthur Justice Center and Casey Denson Law say inmates at the Madison Parish Correctional Center in Tallulah were able to attack each other repeatedly over the span of 5 months. They blame a lack of oversight in the prison, which is managed by the North Louisiana-based LaSalle Management Company. It is worth noting from that story that LaSalle Management made changes throughout to try and move them around, separate them, and whatnot. Closing out Livingston Parish, I love this story. Police in Walker found a backpack full of illegal drugs and are looking to return the lost property to its owner. Walker police posted a picture of the black and white Nike backpack they found Wednesday morning in the road near Florida at Comar Drive. Officers found 50 grams of cocaine, 120 oxycodone tablets, a digital scale, and many small plastic bags. The post says, considering the quantity, I'm sure the owner wants this back. Come and get it. That's the outside in. Here comes CBS News. Is that a lot? I don't know cocaine that as well as you do. Is that 50 grams a lot? Yeah. No. Well, 50 pounds of anything in a backpack is going to be... Complete collision's done. Yep. I'm pushing Mooyah back to 8:15. I know this interview isn't going to last the entire segment. Tomorrow. Excuse me. Pearlina. Yeah. #806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Coming up this, by the way, thanks to Sergeant Don Capola for stopping by for Crimestoppers as he does every Thursday. Coming up this hour, Pearlina Thomas from Cats is going to hop on board to talk about contactless pay. We're also going to talk with Nathan Custer from FEMA. FEMA's extended their deadline, but I also want to check in on the Blue Roof program and a few of the other things they've got going on as disaster recovery centers open and close. And open and close is the important part there. Because if centers are closing, that means one of two things. Either everyone is served in that particular area, or it wasn't as needed as we thought. Both of those would be good news. Extending deadlines suggests that there's more work to be done, but we'll dive into it with Nathan Custer at 8:40. Getting you to this day in history in just a second. For that, though, got to tell you about the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. We do the outside in every single day at the end of the last hour. Baton Rouge Physical Therapy brings you the outside in because that's where you'll find them. 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area, and they're not just in East Baton Rouge. You'll also find them in Ascension, and you will find them in Livingston. And you will have found them for the last 60 years. They've been around a minute. Introduce physical therapy to Baton Rouge. They know how to walk through your particular situation, walk through what you're going through, walk through what your comfort level is when it comes to treatment. All you got to do is get yourself a free screening. Free! At 917-9185. 917-9185. Call, get your complimentary screening. If you've got a nagging pain, lower back, upper back, your neck, whatever, maybe something in the rotator cuff, something from just an old injury that's rearing its ugly head, especially as the temperatures change. Visit brptlake.com, brptlake.com. Get back to being your best you. Think physical therapy. Think Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. Time for this day in history. Let's go. What do you got?
We're going to start things off in 1831. Michael Faraday demonstrates his dynamo invention, an electrical generator.
When was this?
1831.
1831 was when the generator was invented.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was by like a blacksmith's son. It was like a legend at the time. It was like just miraculous.
Okay.
1886, Statue of Liberty dedicated by U.S. President Grover Cleveland, celebrated by first confetti parade in New York City. 1886.
Oh, yeah. On tomorrow's This Day in History, we're going to have the guy that invented the broom.
Oh.
The street sweeper.
We'll get to that tomorrow then. 1904, St. Louis police try a new investigation method.
Scrap all over the road now! Jerks.
Fingerprints. That's the new investigation method they tried
Oh,
out.
gotcha.
Fingerprints. 1904. 1922. First U.S. coast-to-coast radio broadcast of a football game. I looked it up. I cannot find it.
What year?
1922.
Oh, nuts. I don't have that one either.
Yeah. I've really wanted to know, though. But around this time was the first time they broadcasted a Navy-Army football game.
Yeah.
But that did not happen on this day in history. What did happen on this day, however, in 2007, the Bee movie premieres in the U.S. and U.K.
No kidding.
Yep. I remember seeing that in theaters.
That movie's 14 years old.
That makes me feel old. Can only imagine what it does for you people. Old. That's all the events I got. You got any for me?
On the events front, you know what? I don't know. Let me see.
Going once.
You had the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah,
Okay.
going twice.
Then that's all that's important.
And it's pretty much true. Let's get right to the birthdays. First up, we got Bill Gates turning 66. Happy birthday to the multi-billionaire. Caitlyn Jenner turned 72. Happy birthday to her.
Wait. Okay. Do I get myself in trouble right here?
I think that would probably not be smart.
Is Caitlyn 72? Yeah, you know what?
She identifies as a woman, so she is.
No, I know she identifies as a woman, and I'm more than happy to. But does the age start over? Is what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Let's just move right along. Julia Roberts turns 54.
Yeah.
Shout out to her. Brad
Okay.
Paisley, country music fans out there, 48 years old.
Yeah.
We have Gwendolyn Christie. For those who don't know her off the top, she is from Game of Thrones and the latest Star Wars movies. She turns 43.
All right.
She's awesome. Charlie Daniels, fortunately, passed away last year, but he was born on this day in 1936.
Okay.
And finally, the last one I have of note to mention, Andy Richter, 55 years old, arguably the greatest sidekick in late-night television.
The things you do to discredit yourself.
Arguably.
Yeah, not even close.
What are you talking about? Who's your guy, then?
Ed McMahon. Look him up. Ed McMahon. Seriously. You people see what I have to deal with every day? You hear this?
You know you love me, Brian.
No, it's things like that, dude. Things like that. Hey, got a couple more for you on the birthday front. You had Caitlyn Jenner.
I did.
See, on my list it says Caitlyn Jenner, and in brackets it says born Bruce Jenner. That's why I'm asking the question. It's like, do you stop here and start there? I had one local one I wanted to add to the list. That's Early Doucette. Former Cardinals wide receiver, former LSU wide receiver. Early Doucette's birthday today.
Very nice.
Yep. That's what we're adding.
You got any more?
No, that's it.
All right, well, I have no deaths to report, so let's get right into the holidays. First up, we have National Chocolate Day. If you don't appreciate this holiday, then, well, we have nothing more to discuss.
It's weird. You'd have National Chocolate Day 2 days before Halloween.
I don't know if I'm not exactly sure when National Chocolate Day became a thing, but it's arguable that it did come to be before Halloween or after. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's just as popular at Christmas and Easter, though.
Well, some people associate Halloween with, like, sweets instead of chocolate, and to them I say, you're doing it wrong, but I know that market exists.
Yeah.
International Animation Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Congratulations, I guess.
Do we know why today is National or whatever Animation Day?
I don't.
Yeah, me neither. Bet it has something to do with Walt Disney.
Probably. If we have time later at the end of the show, maybe I'll find something.
I assure you, as soon as we hit the break, I'm going to stop caring.
Wonderful. National Immigrants Day. And then finally, National First Responders Day.
There you go.
And I have a fun fact for you real quick. I
What's
have two members of my family who are identical twins. They go by Danny and Donnie. One is a fireman in Orlando, and the other one is a police chief in Key West.
Did they have a Freaky Friday?
I'm sorry?
Did they have a Freaky Friday? Like they'll switch spots?
I don't know if that would go
just to
too
see if
well.
anybody would notice?
I don't know if it would go that well.
Hey, you know, if I had a twin, I would do that all the time.
I would too. But
I just...
I don't know, not with that kind of job.
I mean, give it a shot, you know? There's a lot of... Maybe pick a light day, you know?
A light day?
Yeah.
How do you know when a light day is?
You don't, but it would be... Like Michael Keaton in Multiplicity, right?
Yeah.
He had to send 3 onto the job site for the inspection, and he has no idea what he's doing, but he got through it.
Imagine if they were both police.
A lot of crime in Key West?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind?
Imagine a good cop, bad cop with those two.
What, Danny and Donnie?
Yeah.
We got to move on before I get myself in trouble with this one, too. I just, getting to the end of the week, the weather gets out, you know, gets nice outside. I start running my mouth. We got to move on. That is This Day in History.
Yes,
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking cats, the bus service, not the felines, next. Hello. So it turns out he's legit, and thank you very much. like printed in the hotel lobby. Do y'all have a business center? But do you have any heavier stock? I can cut on a pretty straight line. So no, he's actually with SBA. I looked him up. I'll put it this way: if he's not actually with the SBA, then there are dozens of news outlets who have bought into this as well, including the WAFB. Yeah, allegedly. He's a longtime like local news reporter, not from here, obviously, but we talked for a good 10, 15 minutes. Delightful guy. So, yeah. Yep. Yes, I'm glad it wasn't like some creeper in the hallway. Thanks, Alan. Go ahead.
Thanks. Are you going to be ready for us? Wonderful. We're about to conclude our break. We're going to be live momentarily. We'll get you on. Yes. We'll put you on hold and he'll cue you in. Don't worry. Thank you. Please hold.
'18 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So Cats was supposed to make a big announcement yesterday, and due to the weather, that announcement got pushed back. So here with some spoilers is Pearlina Thomas from Cats. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I am doing very well. So the press conference got pushed back, I assume, due to weather.
Yes.
Does that mean we're breaking news this morning?
You are. Thank you so much for doing so.
Absolutely, absolutely. What is it Cats is working on right now?
We are excited to announce that we will be bringing on contactless pay, the same way you can go to Starbucks and buy a coffee with your phone and with touch pay. We will be bringing contactless pay to our bus service, and we're really excited about that.
So how does it work?
So just a little backstory. One of the benefits to the pandemic is the FTA had decided to create a Office of Research. And so CATS was one of 40 agencies throughout the country that received a grant to do something to mitigate COVID or communicable diseases. So we were really excited that this project is taken off with a 100% funded grant from the FTA, and understanding that the knowledge to do something like contactless pay is limited in the industry. The FDA also had the forethought to allow us to use local partners to do promotion and advertising and educational campaign around this. So the way it will work is we will have an app that people can download to their phone, and it's similar to, it has a mapping mechanism similar to that of Uber or Lyft, where you will be able to see the bus where it is and know what time it's going to get to your stop. But in addition to that, when it comes, you can use your phone, or you can use a credit card to touch pay and not have to touch the fare box, and it reduces the physical interaction with the driver as well. So it's, again, the purpose of us, of FTA initiation with this was to find a way for us to reduce communicable diseases in public transportation.
So this isn't just a COVID thing. This is just overall, which hits right at the beginning of flu season as well.
Right, because we have so many, COVID's had so much attention in the news, and rightfully so. However, we have a number of communicable diseases that we never talk about. So this is a great opportunity for us to just reduce that contact. And it also allows us in our fare collection system right now with our monthly passes. Once you swipe that monthly pass, you have 31 days to use that pass. And if you use it one time or if you use it every day for 31 days, at the end of that cycle, that card is void. With our contactless pay and the cards that we'll have, it's more like a debit card. So if you put that same $54 on that, it takes off the fare as you use it, and it's stored until that money's depleted. You'll also be able to register your card online and enter money on the card, virtually or through your computer. So it allows you to have the better control over the money that you're spending for public transportation. And it's ultimately a cost savings to our riders as well. It allows us also to do bonuses and benefits, and it ties in local businesses. So if you're going to get off at the corner of North Foster and Government, then there might be a Raising Cane's, because there's a Raising Cane's that might have a gift, a coupon, that pops up, or Albertsons specials, that because there's the Albertsons there, specials at the store. We'll have advertising, banner advertising in the app as well.
Okay, those partnerships are those are interesting. I'm guessing this is some sort of. Let me just back up. How do those partnerships develop?
They develop through our local relationships that we have. For example, that's also a stop that's very close to BRCC. We have a great relationship with BRCC, so we will expand that relationship, and we tap into marketing dollars. On the other side of the contactless pay, that is also a revenue sharing opportunity for CAT with the company that we're partnered with, Cubic Transportation Systems. They will allow us to have a revenue share with that. So we will, on the grounds, work with them with their national marketing team. For example, Walgreens is national, CVS is national. Those relationships are already built in. So the Walgreens and CVS that are on our route, we will already have that built in as a revenue share with the advertising that we'll collect from them.
So this is, just to be clear, which is, I find intriguing, because like having Dudley DeBosier painted on the side of the bus, this is paid advertising just like that would be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually fantastic. I mean, because when you look at, we're all about to vote. I mean, we have to vote regularly on whether or not to re-up our millage, as CATS is never going to be without some taxpayer funding, but finding supplements is always a good thing.
It is, and it's important to find ways to additionally support the agency and support efforts outside of that dedicated funding. And we'd really like to remind everyone that November 13th we do have that millage renewal on the ballot. It is not a new tax; it's a millage renewal. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
No, I'm glad to bring it up, and I'm glad you have the forum here as well, because CATS has been the center of some controversial news stories lately. So having one to counter that as we approach the polls very soon has got to be a little bit refreshing.
Yes, it is, and we're just really looking forward to this technology and bringing some innovation to the agency. We are the only agency in the state of Louisiana that has electric buses, and it's so important that we do the things we have to do to reduce our emissions, fuel emissions in the air, and to better protect the citizens of Baton Rouge and Baker with better air quality. So it's a number of things that we're doing that we are grateful to have this platform to promote the good things that's happening at CAT.
Got Pearlina Thomas from CATS for just another minute or so. Pearlina, I want to ask you about the technology, the contactless pay, and everything else y'all have been implementing from the technological side. Is this all up and running now, or are we waiting for a launch date?
We are waiting for a launch date. That launch date will be early next year. And like a number of things, the supply chain has affected us getting the mechanism in that will go into the bus. But we have a guaranteed delivery of February. But what we are doing, we have 10 that they gave us for the prototype and for the promotional announcement. We have them installed, and but we're going right now through the back office stuff, doing the IT things, the things with maintenance to make sure that all those systems are ready to go. And the first test that we had on the ones that are installed, everything looks good. We're not tying it into the system yet. We don't want to confuse the riders, and they think that it's on this bus because we rotate our buses on different routes. So if we could identify one route, then we could announce that it's there. However, because we rotate our buses and we're required to do so, we don't want to confuse the riders. We want to do a full educational campaign that will start very soon.
She is Pearlina Thomas with CATS, and we'll get you back on as that launch date gets nearer to walk through some of the finer points of it.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on this morning. Contactless pay coming your way early next year from CATS. We've got more ground to cover in this segment. I got to take a break. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me just go ahead and address the elephant in the room before I move on, and that is, yes, CATS was in a related news story yesterday, not Pearlina's department. So was not going to grill her over something that she is not even remotely connected with. Still seeking that interview. Hopefully it's coming soon. All right. Governor John Bell Edwards is headed towards the Scottish Lowlands today. The International Climate Change Summit in Glasgow, Scotland. We'll talk about that in just a second. I do need to tell you about the folks over at Mooyah. Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. Look, I try to send you over there for lunch as often as I can get you out there, right? Both locations. Seagan, just north of Industrialplex, or Bluebonnet at Highland. But the holidays are upon us. Want to get outside the box, pun intended, when it comes to a holiday party, a Christmas party? If you're hosting your office Christmas party, if you keeping the employees in to celebrate Christmas within, or any holiday within the confines of your office, or doing this on your own, there's plenty of reasons to celebrate at home as well. Well, Mooyah has catering available, and now is the time to take advantage of that. Doctor's offices, clinics, office buildings, all along Bluebonnet. You know where you're at. Hell, Haggai's at General Informatics right across the street from Mooyah. Go straight to their website, mooyah.com/catering, mooyah.com/catering. If you've not yet seen them, bring the whole, it's like a big bar of lunch. It's like a salad bar built out with all the condiments and everything. They set the whole thing up. You build your own burger within. It's actually, when you look at different lunches you can have on site, by comparison, it's actually a lot of fun going through, making your own burger and whatnot. And, oh, by the way, they deliver. Check them out, mooyah.com/catering, or give them a call, 663-6632. 663-6632. It's time to start thinking about catering. It's time to start thinking about Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. All right, Governor John Bell Edwards says no other state in the U.S. is more impacted by climate change than we are right here in Louisiana.
But it's also true that there's no state better positioned to be part of the solution and to benefit more from newer policies that move us towards a reduced carbon footprint.
You've been hearing the soundbite in news throughout the morning, and you will continue to hear it in the news throughout the day. And you know what? He's not wrong. But I have to go back to what I talked with Congressman Graves about yesterday. Every time you see a climate change conference like this pop up, it's always about what can America do? What can America do? What's America not doing to help global warming? One day, I would just love to see a climate change conference like this where it's asked, what's America going to do? And the answer is send out teams to your country to help you catch up with us. One day, we're going to see a report card on what the rest of the world is doing to help global warming. It's a worldwide problem that apparently all the fingers are pointed at one direction to get solved. Edwards says he's going to attend meetings at the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference. Starting Sunday, runs until November 4th. There will be advisors and members of his Climate Initiatives Task Force.
But I also see this as a tremendous opportunity for the state of Louisiana. And that's why I'll be going, along with members of the Department of Natural Resources, LED, and CPRA.
Hopefully, he will have his eyes on capitalizing from a jobs perspective. Here's CBS News. I feel dirty. Oh my God, that looks good. No. Down the road. Do what? At this point? Only in retirement. He should be calling us, I believe. I told him 8:40, so he might be a minute or two late. Okay. All right, y'all. I got so many topics I haven't gotten to yet today. This is stupid, the amount of prep I did last night. And we got to bail right at 9 o'clock, y'all, because we're filming, or not filming, we're recording one of our weekend shows like immediately after this show. So. Hmm? Okay.
Talk on the 7-3. Hey, how you doing? Wonderful. We're about to hit live right now. We can get you in as soon as possible.
838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going to get to Nathan Custer from FEMA in just a minute. They've made a pretty big announcement about a deadline extension. We'll get the details in a little bit. First, though, I got to tell you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. All right. We're approaching the end of the year. Now's the time to look at that calendar and say, how long have I had my mattress? Am I due? Is it time before a new year rolls in? Visit Mitch Kimball and his team at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet at either 4065 Florida Boulevard in Mid-City or the corner of Jefferson and Houchet 18181 Jefferson Highway is the address. Look, Mitch has got a ton of deals going on. He's also got great financing options. Also, oh, by the way, mention you heard about it here, you'll get free delivery. Mitch and his team pride themselves on customer service. They pride themselves on when you walk through that front door, you are more than welcome, more than open to lay down, test drive a mattress, fall asleep, take a nap if you can. However you want to go through the process of whittling down to find the one that's just right for you. They welcome you out there. It's a bigger footprint in Mid-City at 4065 Florida Boulevard than it is on the corner of Jefferson and Houchet. But you'll find the mattress that you're looking for at either location. Give them a call at 930-5779, 930-5779, or just swing by and visit either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. All right, FEMA made an announcement yesterday. They are extending their deadline, deadline for registering with FEMA for assistance recovery from Hurricane Ida, pushing it back to November 29th. Joining us to talk about that is Nathan Custer with FEMA. Nathan, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks for having me on again.
No, glad to have you back on. Let's talk about a little bit of the nuts and the bolts of this. So first of all, is the decision to push back, does that for all 25 parishes affected by the storm?
That is correct. People who had some type of impact from Hurricane Ida that last weekend in August can now register until Monday, November 29th. We did this at FEMA because it was requested by Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards. He felt that people needed a little more time to register with FEMA. Then perhaps the figuring into this may have been some concerns about some of the reported fraudulent registration situation.
Yeah.
But the main reason is just to give people more time. People have been especially in the critically hit parishes, have been preoccupied with trying to get their lives back in order, and they may have been somewhat out of touch, and it's conceivable that some people have not even received the word that that the deadline, which had been today at midnight, that deadline was approaching. So this gives everybody a little bit of breathing room and gives them another 30 days to sign up with FEMA. And the way to do that, there's two methods. The fastest way is online at disasterassistance.gov, or by phone. The phone lines are operating now 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. That number is 800-621-3362.
800-621-3362 is the phone number, and of course, we'll put all that information in the on-demand version of this. If folks are driving right now, can't really write down a phone number, check out talk1073.com after we're done here. Nathan, I asked you about all 25 parishes because we've seen FEMA closing up some disaster recovery centers just because everyone in that particular area is taken care of. Do y'all not whittle down to like ground zero as you move forward through this?
No, those declared parishes remain declared, all 25 of them, throughout this recovery period. We don't drop anybody out of the list because maybe there's a slowdown in people coming to the disaster recovery centers. It's not mandatory that they go to those recovery centers.
Right.
That's just an opportunity to get some one-on-one, face-to-face help and get their questions answered.
Yeah, it's not mandatory. In fact, it's not even recommended. You're recommended to go through the other two avenues with the online or the phone number. It's probably the most expedient. But, yeah, some people need a little bit further explanation, hence the recovery centers. In the meanwhile, though, what kind of numbers has FEMA pumped back out again? I mean, how many folks have applied, been approved? How much money is back in our community as a result of what's the work that's been done so far?
Well, I can tell you, Brian, that applications approved now total 534,119. So over 500,000 Louisiana residents in those 25 parishes have been approved to be considered on a case-by-case basis for some help recovering from Hurricane Ida, and the amount of money that's been approved for various things such as emergency home repairs, temporary housing assistance, is approaching, it won't be long maybe before it gets to $1 billion. Right now it's $878 million has been approved for the over 500,000 applications that have been received.
Is FEMA able to track any of the trends to zero in on, like, I mean, maybe not all the way down to zip code, but maybe by parish, where that money's going back to?
Oh yeah, we keep the data definitely by each parish, and when you look at those numbers, those are a good indication of who got hit hardest by Hurricane Ida.
Yeah, I would expect a leaderboard on something like that would look where, actually maybe not the areas hit hardest would be the early leaders, because the areas hit hardest would take the longest to get their applications in, just to get themselves back up and running, I would imagine.
Well, you got a point there, but in leading, in looking at the numbers that have happened here, mm-hmm. Jefferson Parish has over 123,000 approved registrations, wow. and about $178 million. Close behind is Orleans Parish with 113,000 people having their registrations approved, and those folks are receiving about $174 million so far, and those numbers continue to go up. And that's the reason that it isn't like all of a sudden registrations stopped coming in. They've been coming in, be it at a slower rate, and that's a reason that the governor wanted the deadline extended 30 days.
No, absolutely, because those two parishes, while very heavily populated, were not the ones reporting the most damage. Lafourche, Terrebonne, Plaquemines Parish. I would guess that with this extension, you're probably going to see a lot more from those three that were a lot more in the direct path of this thing.
You make a good point, Brian. That's the way it's happening, and people in some of those heavily devastated parishes have had communication issues. trying to get a hold of FEMA. In the meantime, trying to get something where they can stay, a roof over their heads. Some people go move in with family or friends. Some people, unfortunately, have had to sleep under a blue tarp or even in a vehicle or in a tent. So it's an ongoing process to try to get help to these people. It's certainly not going to be over even by the registration deadline of November 29th.
No, and if we've been around for a few storms, and we've seen these deadlines extended in the past as well, so it doesn't really come as a big surprise. Hey, speaking of a roof over your head, you got a minute to talk blue roofs with me as well?
A little bit, although the Army Corps of Engineers is running that program, so I am not an expert on that. You might be better off to try to get someone with the Army Corps to go into that a little bit.
Well, I just wanted the lowdown on you had sent out a press release yesterday that 90 different apartment buildings in New Orleans. This is another program that has been very active and very fruitful, very productive in their work since the storm.
That's right, and it's not some kind of flimsy blue tarp that's going on these roofs. These are substantial coverings that can give people a chance to arrange for maybe the permanent repairs to their roofs, and in the meantime, they get some protection over their heads.
And they're popping up more and more. We're seeing more and more of them in the wake of Hurricane Ida. Deadline extended to November 29th, which would make it officially, 3 months after the
3 months.
landfall?
Yeah, Brian, the normal on a decoration like this, be it flooding, tornado, wildfire, or whatever, is a 60-day period.
Mm-hmm.
So it was declared on August 29th, so that 60 days would have ended today. Now another 30 days becomes available for people to apply with FEMA for some help.
Yeah, and clearly for some in the coastal areas, it will be needed. He is Nathan Custer with FEMA. We always appreciate the time, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for having me, Brian.
Always.
Take care.
Appreciate it. You too. I got to follow up with the Army Corps of Engineers about the Blue Roof program. It's did not realize this program would be needed as widespread as it was after the storm. If you look, follow along down to the coast, and you saw a lot of damage close to the coast, but bring it back in, and Laplace especially was just brutalized. We were down that way about a week or so ago, and driving, we were on I-10, had to hop off of I-10 because traffic was just terrible. It was at a standstill. So we got off at the Laplace exit to take airline the rest of the way into New Orleans. And, I mean, the roofs were more blue than not at that point. So we'll get an update on that. Also, we're going to talk with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, early next week as well, because when FEMA's deadline extends, so does theirs. Rick Tillery will join us, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday. We've got to get to Your Money Now. Got a couple more topics to cover before we get out of here. Before we get to Your Money Now, want to remind you, Talk 107.3 is giving you a chance to enjoy a true Louisiana staycation on us at either the Renaissance or Watermark Hotels. Simply take our staycation survey at talk1073.com, and you will be instantly registered for one of 2 staycations each month at the Watermark or Renaissance. We draw one on this show. We draw one on Jay's show. It's a staycation with the Watermark and Renaissance Hotels. 8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. One more segment to go before we hand things off to the Fox News Rundown. My thanks to all the guests who hopped on the show today. A lot of very interesting conversation. Got a couple more topics we need to hit on before we get out of here this morning, and I'm trying to prioritize these right now. I'm going to start off with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. I visit with the Chamber every Tuesday morning at 7:15. I believe Adam Knapp's going to be on with me this coming Tuesday. They've got their monthly lunch details. They do a monthly lunch. Go to brac.org/events, brac.org/events. If you're a member of the Chamber, you're in on this. But this coming month, the topic, selecting a site for the new Mississippi River Bridge. Yeah. Is it time to get my hopes up? Because I'm not. Look, we're going to have to be beyond groundbreaking for me to believe that this is going to be a thing. Selecting a site for the new Mississippi River Bridge. Much needed infrastructure changes around the current Mississippi River Bridge have been a topic for years in the capital region. Tangible progress is underway in the process to build a new bridge and connectors in the capital region. Do I open up my heart again? Am I Charlie Brown again, going to kick the football? Don't we all kind of feel like that just a little bit? Selecting a site for the new bridge, that means the new bridge is coming. Really? Can you make it connect with the loop? You can best be sure I'm going to be dialed in on that, though. I want in on that conversation. Well, to listen to the conversation, obviously. Hey, Senator Bill Cassidy made a pretty big announcement yesterday. We'll get to that in about 60 seconds. I got my weigh-in coming up tomorrow over at Go Slim Nutrition. And so, full disclosure, a little bit about myself. I pulled a muscle in my lower back a little over a week ago. And it's had me on the shelf as far as working out is concerned. I can't get to the gym. Doctor says no. Actually, last week I couldn't even walk around. Not even to that point yet in the recovery process. So the exercise portion of my overall weight loss has been on the shelf. But I went over to Go Slim last Friday. We kind of reworked through how this week was going to look. We took a look at the events I had coming up where I was going to have to eat meals in certain places and whatnot. And said, here's what we need to do to get you back on the right path. Here's what we need to do to make sure you're maintaining or keeping up that same level of weight loss, those same level of lifestyle decisions within the week that have gotten you to where you're down more than 50 pounds. And by the way, I'm down more than 50 pounds. And you can be as well. And this week, right now, going on right now, fall open house is going on all week long over at Go Slim Nutrition. Give them a call at 763-9600 or just swing on by. They're on Perkins at they're on Bluebonnet at Perkins, right next door to Rouse's. Senator Bill Cassidy's office announced late yesterday, that FEMA has granted $7.5 million for flood relief from the winter storm. This is good news coming down. I tell you what, we're due to talk to Senator Cassidy soon, so we'll break it down with him. Right now, we got to get out of here. We'll see you. All right, YouTube, we'll see y'all tomorrow. I got a blast. Later.